Okay, and we're back. So, one thing I didn't realize last time was the microphone wasn't working. So if you're wondering whether there was no audio on that, that's why. I don't know what's going on. The microphone works really awesomely, but sometimes it just stops working, I guess is the best way to put it. It may also be because I was having OBS directly connect to the microphone instead of using the Windows default driver or default device connection or whatever. But it's working now. So I also want to mention that I actually fixed that friggin' problem with KSP. The issue wasn't really the stuff with New Year's stuff not being updated. It was because the latest version, the new version of the executable that they released, has some changes to it that apparently if you have the D3D, the Force D3D launch, D3D11 launch options in Steam, it causes that problem. So I removed that from there, and presto, the images are back in where they're supposed to be. And I learned about that from somebody that posted the same thing on the Steam discussion forums. So there's that. So what I'll do is once we're done with this stream, I'll stop this stream and then we'll segue into a stream for KSP. But what we're going to be doing for now, the next couple of hours, is we're going to be building the mob side of this database editing tool. So let's see, rAthena database editing tool. So what we did earlier was to just basically get things up and running. We now have this now will allow you to load in items from files, and it will allow you to modify existing items, add new items, and then write those records to a file if they're different. So any files that have been changed are now being written out to here if we have an update to some fields or if it's a completely new item. And I just want to... So one thing I wanted to try, which was to create a new item and then update it and see what happened with it. Because so that was something I wanted to try out and didn't actually try out. So we'll just leave it the way it is. Item DB. So we're going to create a new item. So 1001. Maybe let's try ISD. Type will be just whatever, etc. I guess. Let's put 1. Weights 2. Slots 0. 0. Whoops. 0. Let's give it a few options here. We'll just do these. And normal classes and third classes. Well, transcendent, we'll say. Equip location is nothing because it's a etc. item. Equip gender both. Actually, yeah, okay, well, that's fine. It doesn't really matter, to be honest. And then the location will be item DB2. And then we'll save the item, create successfully, and now I'm going to load that item, which has been created. And I want to update it. So we'll change the defense to 2. Now I'm going to save this item. Then I'm going to exit, and then I'm going to see what happens when we try and write it. Good, that is what it should do. So it's still an instruct because it's still a new item. I was hoping that that's how it would work with the way that the code was structured, but I wasn't entirely sure. But good, that's that's awesome. All right, so I don't have to do anything with that. And like I was saying, the things that are in here, you just pop them right into the database because they should be able to run. So, like for example, let's just save that. I just want to go ahead and let's go ahead and close it and reopen it. I need to add in a button to reload the data. So like if you make a change and then take the item you created, put it back into the SQL or text file that you're using to draw the data in from, there probably should be an option for you to then update the data, because that way when you do an update on it, it won't be an insert statement, it'll be an update statement. At the same time though, if you're still going to make updates to it, it's probably better to delete the record from the database and then to just reinsert it. But, you know, whichever. Let's go ahead and leave it that way. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to create, a couple new items. So first of all, we'll just do item 1, item 1. And I'm just going to give it some just kind of basic stuff again, so I'm not going to give it too much information. Things here and there. Location, no. Both, and we'll just say bonus. Or wait, so it's going to be on the use, so we'll say I guess we'll just call this one item heal, because I'm I'm not gonna go look up some other stuff. Rand 145, 200, 124. I mean, location item DB2. Oh wow, what's happening here? Input string is not in the correct format. So what did we do to that? I think maybe so we'll probably that's something else we'll have to do. We'll have to do some. Eventually, we'll have to put in. I'll have to do some coding. I won't do it on stream because it's more of a thing to do after the whole thing is made. But to validate input and all that kind of stuff later on. So let's. I must have put something weird in there. Let's see. Maybe I put a space in there on accident or something. Again, nothing there, put a 2 there, and just something in here. It doesn't have to mean anything. And item DB2. That's interesting. So int parse ID TVC def item def input string was not in the correct format. So that's weird. How come none of these other ones are throwing that? Well, that's because it has a value in it. So text is blank. So if we try it, what happens? That's weird. So let me see. Apparently, you can't parse an empty string. Parse int 32.parse an empty string. If you're looking for it to default to 0 on empty text box, throw an exception. Oh. Is null or empty? So, yeah, I guess for now we'll just have to throw zeros or something into there. Okay. Try this again. So 1000 English name item 1, 1 type, etc. Sell price 1, weight 1, slot 0, 0. So if we're parsing it to an int, then we need to set those values, I guess. Other ones that don't really matter, it's just a thing, so some text there. Item 1000 has a constraint here, either ID. Oh, it's already, right. that ID already exists. Hey, cool, I confirmed that those constraint things work though. Awesome. I hadn't tested those yet. I unintentionally did some testing on that, so cool. New. Why is it still 1000? Because that item has been... Oh. Okay. So... here's what we need to do. Yeah. Let's add a new thing here real quick. Public void remove item int ID. So For each item in items, if item.iid items dot remove yeah. Will that work though? I mean, because, well, it's a for each, so we're just iterating over all the elements in it. It's not necessarily like a for loop where you're iterating through it. So I think there's two different things. When you're doing a iterative for loop, you are iterating over the for loop based on a assumption that the for loop is a certain size, or that the object in the condition for the for loop is a certain size. The object on the right. So you have your variable on the left usually, and then your iterative variable on the left, and then on the right side of the equation you have something that's a representative of what should be the last value that the iterative variable value should be before the loop ends. So in this case, with like a list or something, that would be the last, the size of the list or the array or the vector or whatever. In this case, though, we're just pulling out each item from it. It doesn't really matter if we remove an item from it. We're still just pulling out each item from the thing sequentially. So I think that will work. Normally, it would give you an error message saying can't do it because it's altering something that's being used. It's that kind of an error. I don't know. Can't remember the exact wording of it. But I think that'll work. But why we need this is because once we have identified that an item has a constraint issue, then we need to remove that item because the way that the save button works is that it creates a new item on top of that. So instead of just having the one item that you have in there, you now have a second. You now still have that item in there that's causing the issue, even if you fix the problem. So we have to remove that item from the items list before we continue. So we could do that, or let me see, where's the constraints at? If error exists, check constraints. Well, I don't want to do it on check constraints because that's also used by the import data, and removing that from that could maybe cause an issue or something. But I'd rather not have it in there. I'd rather have it called from outside of the function. So if we go back over to the code for this, and we have a constraint error, which is down here somewhere. No, up. This is there. Okay, so these aren't going to be single line anymore, but that's fine. Crap. That we have to bring that down first. Okay, there we go. So there was an error creating a new item. Previous error message, blah blah blah. But then we need to remove this item. So actually, yeah, if we can just pass through the item. What am I saying? We don't need the ID. If all we need to remove the item is the item itself, then all we need is to pass through an item object and then use remove on it. So in other words, this can be a one-liner function without all the bells and whistles. So we have all that, then we pass this through to update item, which is item, and then parse the ID. I need to check this to make sure that's actually going to work though. So update item ID, get item by ID, update item. So we're passing this through. So, 2K. This may or may not work. I mean, because what we're doing here, this is a temporary item, this update item, which is what this is being passed through as. Set temporary item, it's not going to be in the list. What we're doing here is we're passing that instance of the item that we're updating into the item that we're actually supposed to be updating, then we're applying the values if they're actually an updated value. So actually, no, we do need to have the iterative process here because we have to be able to get the actual item that we want to remove. And then to remove it. So, yeah. Alright, dhandler, or dhandle dot remove item, and then that would be itm dot iid. And that should help there. Same thing with the other one down here. And again, in this case, we don't want to remove the data yet because we haven't really updated it yet. So instead of causing the person using the application to bang their head against the wall when all their hard entered data is gone after it failed to actually either create the item or update the item, it's still going to be there. We just have to manage this other part of it. Okay, I think that'll do. So I'm going to try that again because I want to see if that actually works properly now. So 1000. Okay, has a constraint issue. And then, no, it still has that issue, doesn't it? Okay. We'll have to, okay, so. And then say remove item equals ITM. Then if let's see. What was that? There's an is null string. Okay, so it's a string is null or empty. So we want to check if okay, so dot equals or wait, that's not it's not data that is null, but data, I don't care which it is, I just want to know how you check it. Monadic null checking. Okay, so you just say it does not equal null. Very well. So if remove item, oh, we don't need the thing at the beginning there. If does not equal null. Fine. There, I'll set it to null. Have a little chuckle over that. So if it's not null, in other words, if we have it set down here, then we want to remove it. So items dot remove item, and that should take care of that. So let's try this again. Item DB 1000. Okay. So now if we change this to 1. Right. So we're not getting any other error messages, but I think we need to reset some stuff in here. So data constraints error exists equals true. Not this one, but over here. Dhandle, or no, yeah, in here, in the dhandler. All right. So check constraints. So let me see. Do we actually put it as false if there's no issue? For if or yeah, we should do an else and set it to false, just so that we can reset it if we need to, without having to do anything really weird with it. And my mouse battery is dead. And I just reset the screen settings again. Okay. Power. Unlimited power. Straight from the USB port. Okay. So, let's see. Warnings. What is this? This is for data handler. Data constraints. Okay, that's fine. So I think now that will fix that problem. In other words, the problem of dealing with if we have a previous error, we weren't resetting that value. And so it was always saying there was a constraint issue when there really wasn't. 1, etc. 0 or 1 or whatever. It doesn't really matter. For those. Okay, so that's fine. So if we change this to 1001. Okay, there we go. And then if I go to load item, we'll see 1001 in here. Yeah. Okay, cool. Good. That was the problem. Okay, let's go ahead and close this, and we're going to do the testing now of multiple stuff. So we're going to do updates and inserts to multiple items, and then see what it prints out into the SQL file. So 1001 test item 1. So buy price will be 10. It'll be a card. Sell price will be 5. Weight 10. Slots 0. POID 0. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. We'll do a few of these. Equip genders, both. Location will go into armor. And script will be bonus B, B attack, or B attack, which is the bonus, 25. So it gives you a bonus, actually not B attack, B STR. It gives you a bonus, 25 bonus points to your strength attribute. Now to go into DB2. Alright, save item. So 1002, test item 2. Oh, the card didn't get reset. The type didn't. I'll have to remember that. This one's going to be a weapon. Buy price 1500, sell price 250, weights 25, slots 2. View ID will be 6. Oh, right. Let me check the document. I want to make sure this is actually like actual correct. Probably doesn't really matter, but that's drops config. I don't want that. Actually, I think it's this. Yeah. Now, so for the view ID on weapons. So, one-handed axe. I guess we can make it a one-handed axe. That's fine. 6 is fine. And it will be refinable. Attack power will be 250. And we'll add, well, no. This isn't RE. RE is not enabled right now. Defense, 0. Range, 1. Weapon level, 15. Equip level, 25. So as for who can use it, novice, swordsman, acolytes, merchant, alchemist, and blacksmith, and I guess we'll do hunter and assassin. And we'll set it up for all the different class types. Location will be weapon. Gender will be both. Equip script. So equip script will be bonus. B bonus. B all stats 10. And let's also have a splash damage. That would be underneath script. No, underneath. Where would that be? It's in here somewhere, isn't it? I thought I had that open earlier. Maybe I don't have it open anymore. Let's see. Status script commands. Item bonus. There's. Find. So bonus B splash range and then the end range. So B splash add range, I guess. Bonus B splash add range 3. Okay, and that'll be an item DB2. That was interesting. It said updates to this item have been applied. That was interesting. And it's actually not in here. In the load list either. Oh, yeah, we have to, damn. Okay, instead of being all crazy and awesome and stuff like that, I'm just gonna do, we'll do 2. We'll do 1 new and 1 update, and we'll see if they show up over there. Genders both, script nothing, and item DB2. Save item. Okay. I'll go ahead and load white herb. We'll change the weight to 60. We'll make the sell price 10. And we'll change this from 75 to 80. And this to 135. And we'll also remove a few classes. Okay. Now let's go to File, Generate, and the SQL. Generate SQL file, and we'll see what's in here. Well, we got the first one, but we didn't get the second one. Alright, so that'll be something to look into. I'm not going to do it right now, though. So, we got pretty much the item UI done and the coding done, and it's working more or less. Let's shift over to working on doing the mob side of things. So there's a lot less fields to deal with mobs. There is a bit mask field though, at least one. So we'll have to keep that into consideration. So first things first, we need to go to create another form here. Add new item, Windows form, and mob db editor to keep in line with the name for the other one. So I'm going to do a similar thing here to what we did with this. I'm actually going to come over here and grab a few things. And we're going to copy them over here because we want to use these over here as well. I'll figure out the spacing in a bit. So I don't think we're going to need this much space. We will need to change some of the naming and things like that, so we'll go ahead and do that. Exit mob. And there will be a few other things we'll need to consider as well. Like, for example, on this one we're going to have drops. So what we want to do is we want to have the ability to have a drop down like this. That'll have all the items, and then you can select the item you want from there. It'll load in the ID, and then that way you don't have to go looking for the ID for the item. You can just pick it from a drop-down list. So mobdb editor, exit it, I should say, save mob. Load mob. A lot of the background code for this is going to be pretty much the same. So mob location. Okay, so there are those. A few other things we're going to need to bring over, the ID. So let's take a look at the actual fields we have on that table. Let's see, I think it's not this one, that's the SQL file. It's our temp data. Where are, delete, save. Where is our, here. So mob db table, all right. So we've got a couple, we've got several, but they're different fields. So we've got the ID, the sprite name, the KRO name, the IRO name, the level, the HP, SP of the monster, experience, base experience, job experience you get for killing it, the range of the attack, attack 1, attack 2. So basically this is the minimum and that's a maximum. So a monster's attack when it hits you, and RO is determined basically on a range. It's a random range, I would assume. So you have the start point, end point, and it's a random value in between depending on other factors that are calculated in based on defense of the character and equipment and skill, status effects and all that kind of stuff. Defense, magical defense, attack, all the basic attributes, I guess, of those. The range 2, which is the maximum skill range. So this determines how far away a mob can use a skill. So how far away you are to be targeted by a skill from a mob. And range 3 is the sight distance of the mob. So how far it can see away. the scale of it, the race, the element, the behavior, which is a bit mask field, the walk speed, attack delay, A motion, D motion, MEXP, MVP, 1 through 3 ID, drop IDs, the percentage of those drops, and then the regular drops as well for 1 through 9 ID and the range, or percentage, and then the card ID and the drop percentage for the card. So those are the fields we have to deal with here. So again, we're going to have these segmented out into different sections, kind of similar to how it is on the item. We're going to have one, we're going to have one of these kind of fields that's going to have all the bit masks for the Munster behavioral stuff, behavioral modes. We'll have two of these kinds of sections with not like this, but two sections that'll have nothing but drop downs and related things. So it may actually be a bigger editor window than this one was. But we'll see what happens. So instead of just copying all this other stuff over, we're just going to go ahead and create a whole new series of controls because it'll be easier that way. First, so we need to bring this down a bit, and then also we need to change the background color to azure from gray or whatever this color is from control. So azure. Okay, and then we need to go grab. So we're gonna need. Let's see. So the basic information, the attributes, the behavioral stuff, the MVP drops, and the normal drops. So 5 different sections. So we're going to need 5 group boxes. Alright, so these group boxes will, let's see, how do we want to arrange them? I think it'd be better to do the so let's go ahead and bring this down a bit more, because I want to do all the drops together, but I also want to do them vertically because I think that makes more sense than doing them horizontally, because that way we can keep the control width a little bit under control, pun intended. Question is, how many do we actually need? We're gonna have at most 9 drop downs in this, and this one's gonna have at most 3 drop downs plus the percentage text box. Next to it is going to be a larger one that'll probably take up the entire section here for behavioral stuff, and then we'll have another box down here that'll have some things. I don't think it'll take up this much room, so we'll figure out about the size of this window. So we're going along here. I think that's going to have to be, so the attributes are going to be all the actual attributes: strength, attack, strength, dexterity, vitality, all those. It's going to be all the 3 range fields. It's going to be the attack field, the magic defense, and the physical defense fields. What else is there? So these 4, the level, and the HP, SP, and these right here, all these ones here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 fields will be the basic information. All of these fields will be attributes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 fields, 16 fields for attributes. Then this will be its own section. 17 actually for attributes. 18, 19, 20. So all the way down to 20. So 20 fields for the monster attributes, mob attributes. This will be a general information one. So that'll be in the other section. So that'll be 8, and then we'll have 3 drop downs along with 3 text boxes, and that means 6 labels for these, and then 9 and 9 and 16 labels, and then we'll have the card drop ID be its own thing, I guess. So we actually need one more section. So we'll give ourselves way more room than we actually need. Well, we can't drag them off, can we? I can drag this down further, but right now, so while we're trying to figure out how much space we're actually going to need, I'm going to just make this huge so we can move things around as we need to. So this will be here. So we need a label, a drop down, a label, and a text box. So this is going to be larger than that. Or we could say have like maybe some sort of super label. So like we say here, we'll put here item IDs and then drop percentages, and then it would have the items and then the drop percentages, instead of having a label on each one of these, which would help keep down the amount of space needed. But we do need another one of these for the card information, which again wouldn't actually be that much. It'd be like really actually a small, just single one like that. So this has got to be like 20 something fields though. This is going to be a pretty big section here. And this is going to be like 8 or 9 fields. So again, pretty big section. All right, so let's go ahead and just get our labels and text boxes over here. So label, text box. What else do we actually need for this? So ID, sprite name, chara level, range. That's not part of this. JXP, MVP XP. So I think these will all just be text boxes, really. We will probably we'll do a drop down for the size, monster size, drop down for the race. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I thought that humans were considered demi-humans, players were. But there's an actual player race. Interesting. And then for the elements, that's going to be a little tricky because there can be custom elements. Which I guess you have settings for an elemental DB, which you can create customs for. So I think what that'll have to be is it's going to have to be a text box. I'll just make a note to refer to the mobdb txt and documents for more details. So there shouldn't be too many drop downs outside of a few of these. So in this first section, though, there's too many of these only. So group box 1 text will be basic mob information. So Sugoi UI bold 10. Okay. Label. Okay, the label can stay as 9. Oh, okay, never mind. This should be 10. That didn't get set to 10. Oh yeah, it did. That's weird. But it says 9.75. Weird. What did I use for these? So I use 9.75 and what's this? 11.25. Okay, so let's up that then to 11.25. Then this can be 9. Which means it's actually 10. And then this can be, well, it can be whatever this is. So Skull UI, no bold, and 9.75. So 10 no bold. Alright. So the ID of the monster, the name, well, the sprite name, the database name, the other database name, so ID, sprite name, KRO name, IRO name, level, then the HP, SP, base experience, job experience, and then the MVP experience. So that works out pretty well. Actually fills up the both columns. So let's go ahead and name these labels correctly. So monster ID, mob ID, and actually that will be just ID, not mob ID. Basic mob information, mob ID. Redundant identification of what stuff is. So this will be I just KRO name, IRO name, name of the monster. Oh, I see. So this is the name of the monster that we use if you use Japanese as the server language, I guess. So that must be what the other fields are for too, the English name and Japanese name on the item table. So KRO name, I'll just say JPN name. What did I call it on the item editor? English name, Japanese name. Okay. Then the next one is the level. Then health points, skill points, the base experience, base EXP, job EXP, and then the MVP XP. MVP EXP. Alright. So we've got our things here. Let's go ahead and get these organized. So how far out do we need to go with these? So I'd say probably at least this far off from the Right. All right. So we can bring this in a bit and bring this up a bit. All right. So that's going to be our basic control size for this one as well in terms of the width. This one can go down further down. We'll probably go down further. Okay, so now for this one, let's grab. Well, let's actually set this one up first on the text and whatnot, so we're not overwriting the settings on the controls that we're going to bring down. So this is monster mob attributes. If not possible, let's try and keep them in the same order, or same general, because it would look really nice if we keep them in the same, down the same actual positions all the way down from this box to this box. I think it would look good. So now for this we need, what is it, like 20 something? Just trying to lock two other things that we don't want it to. We'll start there and see if we need more. I think we'll go left to right, so left, right, then down. So the first thing is the first range, which is the attack range. So I'm going to call it the attack range instead of range 1, just to make it more descriptive. So min attack instead of attack 1. Max attack. Actually, it might be better to do min attack here. Or max attack here. And then to do the other range here. So the second range is skill range. And then it's not really chase distance, it's how far the monster can see you. The sight range, I guess. What's one of the other one-offs that we have? Element, I guess. I'll put that one on this one. Because I want to try and keep these other ones together, so all the actual attributes, attack, the strength bit, all that stuff, I want to try and get all in these sections here. Okay, so next is all of this stuff. So defense 1 and 2. Well, defense, magic defense, and physical defense. So defense, magic defense. And then all the other attributes here. So, first will be strength. Or actually agility than vitality, right? Vitality. Intelligence. Dexterity. And then luck. Alright, then we have the scale and the race. So both of these can be drop downs. Combo boxes, I guess. And then the speed walk. So walk speed. Attack delay. That's a little bit too much. Closer, but still not quite. There. So attack delay, attack animation motion. So attack delay, known as attack speed. Okay, so the rate at which the monsters attack, and then the attack motion. Lower value means attack will be displayed in higher FPS. So, attack motion. Damage animation. So damage motion. And then that's it. Okay. Then we just need the other two combo boxes for that. Okay, so that's that section. So it's a lot of attributes to use. Now we have this one, which is going to be our behavioral mode option, behavioral options. So, Segoi, UI, bold, and 11. The name is going to be behavioral options. Behavioral options, right. And we're going to have a bunch of labels and checkboxes. So can we change which side the text is on? Don't think so. Well, probably you can, but I'm not sure where you would do it at. Alright, for the label text, 10 and the regular. Okay. So now we need to go to that other one I had open. So mode. So bit legend goes up to a pretty large amount again. And just mob types. Okay. Oh, okay, I see. So this is kind of like a cheat sheet to different types of things that are used normally. Like this might be like for pourings, passive looters, for example. Or bosses, for example, might be this one or something. So Aegis has different class types that can't be combined but can be reflected by a combination of RA mode bits. Add the mode listed here to the mode above. Oh, okay, so on these then, so when you have these, then you add this to those to apply these other conditions. So it's added independently. Note that the detector bit for insect and demon monsters need to be added independently. Interesting. So if you notice, there are no... Oh wait, ignore miss. 100,000. Well, that's actually different though, isn't it? These are actually 6. Yeah, those are 6 bits. I think that's a typo. I think there's supposed to be 2 extra zeros on these. Then again, these don't have them. Anyway, so we go look at the database real quick here. Kind of see what we're expecting to have in these fields. So for the mode, it's going to be like a value like this. So what we'll do is we'll just operate based on that. Same assumption that these are all independent. So in other words, there's so here's the interesting thing though. You see this here, event class ignores all drop rate adjustments. But then this one also has the same thing. So attribute types are a bitmask just like AR mode bit. RA mode bit. Directly converted plant modes, combination of various of these modes, add the mode listed here to the... Okay, so we get our base mode from up here, and then we add in stuff from both of these to give different effects. So for example, let's say we have like a boss that has can attack, can move, and has the random target bit masks. We can then also apply to that any one of these, add this onto that bit mask, and then add these on top of that as well to get different effects. So that's kind of interesting. Another thing I'm kind of concerned about is the fact that we have a bit mask here that seems to be the same as a bit mask here, so how do they determine which is which? Maybe it just depends on how it's applied. So the 1000s from here is applied first, or 1 million, whatever that is. It's applied from here first. Alright, so this is 1... Okay, that's 1 million. This is 100,000. Ah, okay. So let's let me see. Let's grab my let's get the calculator here. Actually, the calculator is not open. So let's bring up the I guess the programmer calculator. So 0. Where is the X for hexadecimal? All right. So let's say 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 100,000. That in a decimal form is this value. So 1,048,000. If we add another 0, oops. Oops, no, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so it does have a different value. Guess we'll have to pay attention to those, to what these actually are here. So what we need to do is we need to convert these and make, well actually they are converted here, which is good. These other ones aren't though, which is kind of annoying. Like I don't think there's a 6.2 million up here anywhere. So they should all be unique, in other words. So I'm thinking this, what's happening with this. So obviously that's 0. Or no, 0. So no, yeah, 0 is 0. Even in hex, I think 0 is 0. Clear. Get out of there. Hex 0 equals decimal 0. Yeah. So that's interesting. 0 bits. So I guess if you don't apply any of these other ones, it's automatically going to be a number monster. I guess that's what that would mean. Makes sense. So 62 copy. So that's the value to indicate a boss monster, which is not the same as an MVP, apparently. Alright, copy. Roll V. Oh. That's why. Really, probably, yeah, makes sense. You can't type a C into a decimal thing, so, yeah. I can see how that wasn't working. And then this one. Paste. And, oops, no, it should be at the hex is that, and the decimal is this. So these are the values we'll use inside of the code and the case statements, the switch statements. These ones will probably be familiar because they seem to be, yeah, they track with some of the ones from the class bits, if not the ones exactly. All job bits. Should have just done that in the first place when getting the values for these. Much easier. And probably much more accurate. Alright. So there's those. Let's go and actually do tabs so we get these lined up. Alright. Okay, and also then what we can do is also then take this stuff and copy it up here. So I have it all in the same place so I can look it up. Then I'll put some space there. Okay. That's going to be our main cheat sheet here for what we're going to do with this. Go and minimize that. So, Yeah, we're gonna need a lot of these. Really, as far as the alignment goes, I don't really care about that at the moment. Just want to get them in the general place where they're going to end up at. Then we can worry about everything else later. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Oh, that bit is there already. The 008. The 52, 524, 288. It's right here. So it's ignore ranged. Okay, these are already in. Okay, these are already in the same, that order. Interesting. Or are they? Some of them are, some of them aren't. MD skill immune. That's not any one of these, is it? No. What about the 671? Guardian immunity. Yeah, that one's there. So 62. That one's not there. 44,000. That's 4 million. This is 400,000. And then 40,000. There's 40,000. Where's 400,000? Right there. So there's still some that actually aren't in this list, though. So this one isn't there. Because I guess it's assumed, so. MD, normal. I'm just adding them in myself. Let's see, so that one's there. 6.2 million is not there. So that's a boss monster. MD underscore boss. 0x62 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Battlefield class. Immune to status changes, completely ignores all skills. 21. That's the C1. So I don't know, what should we call that one? Battlefield class, immune to status changes, completely ignores all skills. So, well, battlefield classes. Maybe there's some sort of event or some sort of thing in RO for battlefields. I've never heard of them before, so we'll just use that, I guess. MD battlefield. And that one's going to be 0xC. Let's see. 1 million. 1 million fixed item drop. Yeah, that one's there. So 10,000 is there, as is 100,000. So 655, 36. Yeah, ignore melee. 2, 4, 8's there. That one's there. The next one, 2, 4 is there. And there's also an 8, which is free. See, I think they're all there now. The rest are there already. Okay, so let's see now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So 29. Not quite as many. We've got how many labels? Or how many controls, I guess. Doesn't show you the number of controls selected. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So that's 22, I think. So we need another 7. Really? What else is going over in here, though? If anything. I think it's just that, isn't it? Yeah. Okay, so 9, 16, 23, 29, yeah. It is 29. Okay, so we'll do 8 more. And we'll just get rid of 1 of these. So I think we'll do them in rows of in 3 rows, maybe. Well, depending on how long some of the names are, I guess. We'll see what that looks like first. So normal. So let's see, normal monster. Some of these should not allow you to do them together. So for example, you shouldn't be able to choose normal monster, MVP, or boss monster at the same time. Those should be options that are mutually exclusive. Interesting. So if it's a demon or an insect type element monster, then you have to add this bit specifically to your thing if you want to have it, even if you choose this boss class, or anything that has that detector bit in it. Or is it saying that, so perhaps these are, maybe these aren't specifically, so I'm trying to figure out what these actually are. Because we got all these different types here. And this thing here, so what Aegis has are mob types, which are represented by an A behavior, blah, 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 blah. Sales can convert them from one to another. So in other words, this is like telling you the different, so like if you want passive, you look up the passive, so like it's can attack, so 81, so 80 plus 1, so can move and can attack, but that's passive, so it only attacks when you attack it. As opposed to, say, 85, which would be maybe more... Well, 85 is kind of... so it's aggressive, but it's... so yeah, so can move, is aggressive, and can attack. Would be 85. So I think these sections here aren't necessarily new bit masks. I think they're just combinations of other bit masks. So actually I'm going to undo those changes I did. So I don't think that really has any... These don't really matter, I don't think. I think these are just combinations of other things. So like, for example... boss class, I think, is just... This is referring to it being an MVP, and then having it being with these other effects here as well. Let's see, battlefield class. I don't know. It's just, this isn't very well. They don't really tell you what specifically. It says to add them to the ones that are above. So, add them. So, add the mode listed here to the mode above. So, add these to this. And then attribute types are bitmaps just like RA mode bits and can be directly converted. Plant mode is a combination of various of these modes. Add mode list above to the resulting mode. So add this to this, then add this. Basically is what it's saying. But these, I think, are all just combinations of these bits up here. Because what I'm wondering is if I have to handle, like, say, this one, this specific one here, battlefield class. I mean, immune stance change is fine. Completely ignores all skills. So ignore. So skill immune. Status change immune. Status immune, skill immune, but what's this other one? This battlefield class. How is that determined? You know, there's nothing up here that says battlefield, so it's something different. So I think if we strip away the other ones, if we like find out what the value of these are, strip them away, and then we get what the value of this is, we can convert it back to a hex and figure out what this actual battlefield class hex value actually is. But then here it says different class types that can't be combined but can be reflected by a combination of RA mode bits. So I'm wondering if we add these two together, if that comes out to be this C. So what were those two? Those are the status and skill immune. The last two here, yeah. So yeah, maybe that is it. Maybe that's what that C is about. Where's the calculator at? Damn it. Get back here. So, 4 million plus 8 million. Yeah, that's what it is. That's exactly what it is. Okay. So these are just combinations of the things that are already up there. They don't have anything in particular that that's special about them. It's like this boss class, for example. So immune to status changes, immune to knockback, and detector. So immune to status changes, so that's that 4 million again. Immune to knockback, so that's 200,000. And then, what's the other one? Detector, which is 2 million. 6.2 million, yeah, exactly. So these are just combinations of various things that kind of give you an idea of how they're set up so that you can do that yourself. So you don't have to try and figure it out yourself. So, like, for example, MVP monsters usually have this combination of bit mask behaviors on them. Okay, that makes sense. So actually we only need, what is this, 8. Again, 0 is implied if you don't specify something else, I would assume. So 0, 15, 25. Wait, how did we get more than last time? Okay, let's try this again. So 8, and then 7 is 15. And then another 7 is 22. 7 and 15. Oh, 8. 8 and 15? No, 7 because that one's free. Yeah, 7 15 is 22 plus 4 is 26. Okay, yeah. So we can lose 3. And then some of these will, like, if you have, if you choose the MVP option, it'll unselect the normal option. Actually, normal wouldn't be included anymore anyway. Well, that's not even in this list anymore. So never mind, we're not going to be doing normal. So can move. Looter. Aggressive. Assist. Cast sensor idle. So cast sensor idle. So maybe it casts sensor when it's idle. Will go after characters who start casting on them if idle or walking. Ah, okay. Without a target. So if they're not attacking anything and somebody starts targeting them, they'll start chasing after the target. Gotcha. So basically, kind of like how what are those called? Thief bugs behave, I guess. I think it's thief bugs, and some others too. But thief bugs specifically, I remember. It's at the top of my mind because I was doing a bunch of stuff for the Jabrira script, going around to different maps, and also testing out different rates and whatnot to check item drops and stuff like that. And I kept on noticing when I was trying to cast spells on thief bugs, they'd start chasing after me. So that must be because of that. So no random walk. No random walk. No cast skill. so no skill casting. I'm gonna try and try and give these, you know, logical names, even if the names over here are not very logical. Can attack. Pretty much every monster probably has can attack on it, except for maybe a few. Can attack. Cast sensor chase. And they will be able to switch targets as well. So if somebody's being chased and another player targets that enemy, that mob will then chase after the person that targeted them with the spell. So cast sensor chase. So that should probably go next to the idol. Sensor, because it's basically for the same type of setting, just a different mode, if you will. What's next? Can change chase. So we'll call it, see, switch targets, if another player happens to be within attacking range. So, call it, I guess we call it can change targets. That's really what it is, change chase. Well, not change, there's change target is a different one. There's change target, melee, and chase. So this one is something different, I guess. Allows chasing mobs to switch targets. So, what about change target chase, though? It sounds like that'll be the same thing. Change target chase enables a mod to switch between switch targets when it hit by an attack while chasing another character. This one is allows chasing mobs to switch targets if another player happens to be within attacking range. So if it's chasing an enemy, chasing a player and happens to go by a player who's not attacking them, then they can attack the player that they went by. This one seems to indicate that it will change target when chasing only if they're being attacked by another player. Then it'll change targets. So it sounds like that's this one's more of like an aggressive kind of change chase, where this one's a change chase passive, I guess, only if the monster gets attacked. This one will just do it, know whether they're attacked or not. So change chase aggressive. Or change target aggressive, I guess. Call it aggro, so I don't have to spout the whole thing. It's already going to be a long label there. Change target. Passive. And then there's change. Or kind of skipping over a few things. Change target chase, change target melee, so change target. This one will be angry. Then target weak. Allows aggressive monsters to only be aggressive against characters that are 5 levels below its own. Interesting. But it only works with aggressive monsters. So it should be probably have a thing where if we check aggressive, then we enable this checkbox to be checked. Otherwise, it will be disabled so that you can't check it without it being aggressive, because it sounds like that doesn't do anything unless the aggressive box is checked. Unless the aggressive bit mask is there. So, target weak. So, random target. Ignore melee, ignore magic. No, I was right the first time, melee. And ignore magic. Ignore ranged. Then is MVP, or say MVP, I guess. Best MVP. Ignore miscellaneous. Knockback immune. So immune knockback immunity. Teleport block, whatever that does. Then fixed item drop. Which, from what I was reading below, it makes it so that the item drop in the database overrides the server settings, which is kind of weird, but I guess you would do that in some cases. Detector. Then status and skill immune. And skill immune. So there are bit masks. Now we need to reorder them and figure out how we want to arrange them here. Teleport block not yet implemented. So it doesn't do a damn thing. Hasn't been implemented for 15 years. Probably will never be implemented. There's probably an ability in the official servers where maybe like with an item or something that the players can warp away or something, or get away from enemies that way. And this basically tells, makes it so that doesn't work when they're attacking this monster or something. I'm not sure. So immune to being affected by skills and statuses enables mobs to detect and attack characters who are hiding cloaked. Mobs drops are not affected by the item drop modifiers. Yeah. So these are going to go into the tooltips mostly. So angry. These mobs are hyperactive. Apart from chase and attack, they have the states follow and angry. Once hit, they stop using the states and use normal ones. The new states are used to determine the different skill set for their being before attacked and after attack states. Also, when following, they automatically switch to whatever character is closer. Interesting. Okay, so can move, looter, aggressive, so cast sensor chase. Can attack. Let's see what else. I think that's really the only two that I really wanted to change specifically. Alright, now we need to figure out what kind of distance from each other we need on these. Like basically what's the longest label we have here, which is probably this one. And then adjust everything else according to that. so no random walk. Okay, so leader assist. So what's the largest one over here? Looks like it's probably that one. So it's increase this a bit so we can see this to increase this. All right. So given that's probably the largest one, I think we need a little bit more room. So when I have at least that much room between the other checkboxes and these labels, and that'll probably work there. We'll probably end up bringing some from down there up here because it looks like we're going to have a few that will be able to fit on this side. Maybe more than a few, really. Quite a few. Okay, so let's see here. That'll probably do it because then this will come up a bit as we start rearranging these appropriately. So that way we can tell it where to actually snap to. That'd be nice. But I don't think it's possible. So it's trying to snap to everything else around here. I want to snap to this specifically. So I guess use the blue underscore, the blue bottom line there for that. I can do the more precise alignment later. So you may not need all that space after all that I was thinking we were going to need. Which could be a good thing. We may be able to move either... Well, we'll have to see about these, though. I'm not sure if we have enough room for these ones. Might be if we have enough room, though, I might be able to move one of these over here, or both of them, or something. Or Might figure out some way to combine these into just 2 sections so we can bring all this in. Okay, what does that get us? Okay, so those are pretty much lined up. Then we gotta do these. That looks pretty well off, actually. Still got to line it up in the middle like that. Or all the bottom section anyway. Alright, let's see what we can do with this now. Put this down here. If we give it the right spacing anyway. Or what we could do is put these both over here, bring this up, and then we can have our buttons over in here. Like something like this. Alright, well, let's see what we do with what happens when we work with this here. So font size, it's for Sugoi. UI bold 11. And that'll be so normal drops. Actually, it should be the other way around here. All right. So, we'll need a label. It's a link label. Oh, label that's a link. Gotcha. And then a combo box. And then, ooh, yeah, there's got to be longer. There's going to have to be much longer. I'd actually see some of the controls in there. So, and it probably better to go MVP 1, 2, and 3. Same thing with these, so you know where they are in the table. I mean, you could, say, okay, well, they're in their numerical order vertically, but you don't know that. So I think it's better to just have it explicitly labeled that way. So, let's grab the. Well, let's actually change the. So it should be regular and 10. So, MVP drop MVP drop 1 ID. And then MVP drop 1 chance. It sounds better than percent chance does. And we need more. Wow. Or actually, wait, we don't have to say MVP, do we? We just have to say drop 1 ID. Because we're an MVP item drop, so it's obviously going to be an MVP drop. So that'll help a little bit. Won't need quite as much space. Still, we want to have a fairly good sized thing there for the text box. Because the... let me see, is there any kind of maximum minimum value constraint on this automatically? Maximum size, maximum length. Not maximum value though. Alright, because you can only have I think 50 or 63,000 as a value max on these. Otherwise you get an error in the map server. I'll need to change the let's see, font stuff again. Okay, so I just want to type in some text here for a test. So 65,000. Okay, we actually don't even need that much. I'll probably want to move this over a bit though, because what we're going to have in this text box will be the item ID and then the item name. Alright, so we really only need maybe, well, actually even less because we can pull these over a bit more. So that they're lined up at the side there. Alright, so something similar to that. So it won't go any more horizontal than this. The width won't be any larger than that, so that works there. So if we need this for 3 drops, we're going to need 3 times this for 9. So actually this will probably go down lower. This might even go down to here about. If we want to give it a decent space between them. So drop 2 ID and drop 2 chance. And then drop 3. Actually, what I should just do is just select this and copy it 3 times down here. Actually, that's pretty close. What I chose for the size on this thing. Okay, so I think the drop 2 ID is a little bit off. Some of these actually still are. Okay, 2, 3, 4. Oh well. That kind of really got screwed up. Drop ID, drop 6 ID, 6 chance. And finally 9 and 9. Okay. So then we gotta do this, which is gonna be a single one for the card drop. Actually, we could probably put this down here if we wanted to. Or what we could maybe do is this. Nah, it looks better up here because yeah, it's the same distance that way. This probably has to go down here anyway because of that. What we can do with this though is put these in the middle. set that there for now. A little bit more, something close to that. Let's grab one of these. And then we'll call this card drop. Okay, so card ID drop chance. So this would be like a filtered list of all the items where the type is 6, since that's the item for a card. Alright, so I think that'll be it for tonight for this. This was the goal, was to get the UI made for it. There could be a little bit of fixing here and there to maybe even out a little bit or something. Like maybe adding a little bit more space in these so that they're a little bit more buffered out, so that we can actually then, like, these labels should probably be bolded, for example. And then we can add a little bit more space so that this will fill up this entire section over here. But for the most part, that's good. So you will give me around a minute or 2 or 3. I will stop the stream and get ready for the Kerbal stream and KSP stream, and we'll get going with that.